Hey folks, today on Around the Yard, we're going to tackle some of these big knottier pieces with the box wedge. I'm going to try and show you the right way to do this so you can be as efficient as possible. This big piece of maple here, it's got about an 8-inch, it was probably about a 6 or 7-inch branch from years ago. It's since kind of healed over, but you can kind of see the knot right here. This is going to give this box wedge a little bit of an issue. So what we're going to do to combat that is we're going to run this knot as close to perpendicular with the frame as we can. So running it straight up and down really helps. We're also going to try and roll this a little bit, not to grab the knot, but just to give us a couple more angles to bite on here. So that's going to be our second test. The first one here is this guy here. This was part of a double barrel, a little bit smaller. The center is about here, so a little smaller piece, but about equally as difficult here. So we're still going to run this up because this is where the knot is. So I'm going to get this back up on the machine here. So this is the orientation you want to run these. Whatever this knot is, make sure it's face up. That'll give you the best chances to get a bunch of clean pushes. You may wind up with pieces, as the grain starts to change in here, it's going to get progressively more difficult to get clean 4x4s out of this. So you might wind up with a goofy looking piece that's going to end up being boiler wood or campfire wood or whatever you guys call it, but it's going to be an undesirable that you can't include in the bundles. So we're going to try and get as many bundle pieces out of here as we can, because that's what I need right now, to be honest with you. And then we'll move on to the second one. So we're going to show you how the different passes work and how we're going to change the orientation of the round to try and get the best possible cut. Part of this is reading the grain and just comes with time. Like I said, I've only been on this machine about 18 hours, maybe. It's coming up on 20. We got to do an oil change. Mentioned that in the previous video, and we'll take you guys along for that as well. But at any rate, enough talking. We're going to get to splitting here. So just like anytime when you guys are splitting, make sure you got eye protection on, but especially when you got these gnarly ones. Anything can happen, and you don't want to lose an eye. This is that goofy piece. That's not going to be a great bundle piece of wood, but that'll definitely fit in a fireplace. It's just got to go in a different pile. So by running that knot face up, this is probably the ugliest piece, and we don't have to deal with that. All right, so this is everything that came off of that first gnarly piece. You can see off on the right-hand screen here, there's 3 pieces still in the wedge from that round. So we got, I'll do my best here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 being the gnarly one. We got several nice box pieces, so of those 28, 29 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are pretty good box wedge pieces. We got some triangles in here, and then we've got a fair amount of kindling or slash, depending on how you call it, but kind of this stuff where, again, I'm going to use it for my bundles because I think it makes good kindling. Some of you guys may not, and that's okay too. There's another piece, you know, just a feather, but comes in handy when you're trying to start a fire. Gets these bigger pieces going. So let's get that second round up. Alright, just a quick explanation here. Saw me working on this, but basically trying to get this knot or this double barrel face up. That's important. If this is face down, you can't control how the round goes into the splitter as well. The way this is going to push is it's going to ride up, which is going to translate to the round rising on the beam, and you're not going to get as clean of a cut through the box wedge. By keeping it face up, you have more of a traditional round. It's going to split cleaner. You can still pull it over on its side as long as you're not getting into the meat of this yet. But you'll notice as we work our way up the log and in, we're going to still keep this on the face, because what's probably going to happen is we're going to wind up with this knot as the ugly piece. It's going to shear somewhere probably in here or here, you know, in this last couple inches of the main round, and you're going to be left with a piece that's really not usable. You can run this through again. It might split nicely in half, but more than likely, because the grain's going so many different directions, it's just going to ball up and knot up on the front of this wedge, and you're just going to wind up with whatever this is in mulch. So anyhow, let's get the Wolfe Ridge here fired back up, and we're going to run this last round. What I mean, you're going to split around this thing. Knife's entering here, shearing all of this off. It's getting to the knot, and then it's breaking this apart. So this is going to wind up being, you know, a piece that probably gets stuck in the wedge, at least temporarily. I think the way this is shaped though, we're gonna keep pushing on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and stack a few more of these pieces. So we got a pretty good purchase on this side. All right, so this is what we're going to be left with. You can see the last push grabbed the wood that was around here, but it didn't do anything with this knot. It's just not going to split it. The box wedge isn't designed for these types of pieces. You can see here's our limb. There's where it started growing off the tree. This is extremely hard. The grain's going all different directions. That's not what the box wedge is for. It'll take it, but it's just going to mulch this stuff up. You're going to wind up with a whole bunch of this because you don't have a clean, straight grain. You know, this is pretty useless for bundle wood because it's not straight. It's not 16 inches. It's got a goofy curve in it. It looks like I don't care. So that can't be used for bundle wood. Same like this. That'd be a decent piece, but there's nothing over here because it's sheared off. So that probably came, right? That's one of these pieces right here. There it is, right there. That's how that one goes. This one's probably right on top. Something like that. That's how this thing's going together. That's how it's coming off. It's coming off in pieces. So it's just not worth it. You can get some decent firewood out of it, and some of this is halfway decent. You know, that's an okay feather. Again, not ideal. This thing is kind of goofy, but it'll probably fit the bundle somewhere. You know, not ideal, but we needed to fill up this tote, and that's what we're doing. So this will wind up being into my personal wood furnace stash. Along with this thing, that'll be great. It'll burn for probably a whole day. It'll fit through the door. It'll burn just fine. These are honestly probably the best pieces to put in that wood furnace because they take a long time to burn, tight grain, not a lot of surface area. Stuff like this burns up pretty quick. Great for campfires. So anyhow, we'll get the rest of this tote stacked up. You'll see just off of these last 2 rounds, here's where we're at. So I've been kind of stacking as we go here a little bit, and that's, we're gonna fill this tote, and we were a little bit short that last one before we started these goofy rounds. There we go. I like to stack the edges, stack the middle, you know, get my money's worth out of the tote. So that'll be a decent piece of bundle wood. It'll burn for a long time with all those twists in it, but again, not ideal. I'd much rather have straight grain, easy to push like the last video. So here's some feathers we're just gonna throw on top. And if nothing else, it keeps the weather off the main stack. So anyhow, well, now we're pretty much out of rounds here. We got, that's where that pile of maple was sitting. I've got one bigger goofy piece there. There again, we could run that through the box wedge, but realistically, that nice clean section is probably about 8-9 inches. And then we got another, you know, goofy with a limb coming off. The 2 behind it Back here, those are 12-inch or so. I'm just gonna set those aside, and those will be for my own personal use or campfires or whatnot. So, but anyhow, that's kind of it. We got that pile of maple done. Kind of walk over here, guys, and show you. Gotta do something with this TM splitter. There's my pile of birch here from the other day. That was kind of the last of the birch. I gotta stack that in another tote. I think this is the project for this afternoon.